How to Write a Sentence and How to Read One. So in this book by Stanley Fish, he goes through the structure of how you write a sentence, but he goes even beyond that, because really I see this as a love letter to sentences. He sees all the great things about sentences, goes into a lot of detail, more than you probably want, unless you're a literary nerd, like you probably already are if you're watching this. You'll notice that there isn't any question mark at the end of his statement, how to write a sentence and how to read one. This is because Stanley Fish is writing a definitive statement on how to do it. He's not asking, how do you do it? Where we see this maybe the strongest is in chapter 2. He goes ahead and writes a whole chapter on why you won't find the answer to the question, how to write a sentence, in a competitive work, Strunk and White, The Elements of Style. He argues that the elements of style is helpful if you already know how to write, but you're going to need this guy if you want to actually figure out how to do the small pieces, writing in sentences and formulating them in a good way. In my opinion, he's kind of splicing hairs. For instance, he says that while the guide does tell you on the first page that a sentence is a building block of verbal and written communication, yeah, that's true, but Fish goes ahead and critiques it by saying, but how is the building done, and when does it add up to communication? So Strunk and White is setting out to do something, I think, different than what Fish is doing. Fish is highlighting, I'm necessary because here's what I'm going to address that Strunk and White has not addressed. So in the very first chapter, Fish sets out a promise for the readers of this book, and he says, so I promise to give you both sentence pleasure and sentence craft, the ability to appreciate a good sentence and the ability to fashion one. A tall order, but it's something that he sets out to do and does very well throughout the course of this book. One of my favorite things about this book is that Fish actually uses examples of famous people, of books that we know well, of movies that we love, and he takes great sentences from those works and breaks them down and shows what makes them great sentences. Some of those sentences include the Magnificent Seven.
If God didn't want them sheared, he would not have made them sheep.
Fish argues that a good sentence can turn up anywhere. Like in a movie, it appears for a second, shines for a moment, and then it is gone.
I'll give you a winter prediction. It's going to be cold, it's going to be gray, and it's going to last you for the rest of your life.
Okay, so what makes a good writer, or what makes a good sentence? In a sea of other sentences, what differentiates it as a good sentence? Well, to Fish, you've got to do a couple things as a writer. First, you have to abandon the idea that you are thinking first and foremost about content. Actually, you have to first think about the function of the sentence and the different parts and how it works together. In the same way that a great musician first needs to learn the scales, or a great cook first needs to have an understanding of the ingredients that are going to come together to produce the final product, a good writer first needs to understand the different elements that go into making a good sentence. And then, so now what? So just because you have a demand of the devices, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a great writer. You can't stop there. So Fish emphasizes that you need to know the purpose of your writing. Are you writing for humor or for persuasion? Whatever it is, the context and the purpose affect whether or not you can judge if it's a good sentence or not.
Still wonderful, isn't it? And no dialogue. We didn't need dialogue. We had faces.
Good writing will produce an effect. After the reader reads your sentence, then they will either laugh if it was supposed to be funny, or they will be persuaded if it was intended to persuade you. A good sentence is able to do that. So how can a writer identify if they've written a good sentence? They've got to know the context in which they're writing. They've got to be able to communicate their purpose. And they, at a basic level, have to have a command of the devices. When you're writing, ask yourself the question, what am I trying to do with this writing? There are, of course, a million ways that you can communicate your purpose and talk about the context and try and get your reader to really understand what you're writing with your sentence. Fish takes all of these millions of options of how to maybe write a sentence, and he boils it down into two general categories. There's the subordinating style, and then there's the additive style. The subordinating style talks about the elements in the sentence in a causal way. One event leads to another. And then there's the additive style, and in that style, the words within the sentence may have a causal relationship, but the sentence doesn't specify it. One thing is just kind of added on to the next without putting the pressure on the reader to order how those things are connected to one another. In order to bridge the gap in this book from how to write and how to appreciate sentences, Fish uses satire. The art in which human vice or folly is attacked through irony, derision, or wit. The beauty of satire is that it doesn't come right out and say what it's saying, but yet what it is saying is something worth being said. And that is worth saying. Fish then goes on to explain some of the formal skills that it takes to write satire because it is so complex, and it's one of my favorite parts of the book. In the epilogue, as he closes, he says, "Sentences can save us. Who can ask for anything more?" All in all, I think that this is a great resource for anyone who's going to be doing writing in a consistent way. Whether you're trying to find strategies for how to write a better first or last sentence, or you're just looking for ways to improve the technicality of your writing, this is definitely a great resource for somebody that finds themselves in those places. And with that, thanks for watching. I hope that you're able to use this book, How to Write a Sentence and How to Read One, to both improve your ability in writing and your appreciation for the craft of writing good sentences. Good luck in your future writing endeavors, and thanks for watching.
John Updike, the American novelist and poet and essayist, happened to be in Fenway Park the day that Ted Williams hit a home run in his last time at bat. So he's writing about the ball as it leaves Williams' bat. And here's the sentence. He says, "It was in the books while it was still in the air." It was in the books while it was still in the air. Well, that's a remarkable sentence. All monosyllables, extraordinarily powerful, doing several things at once. And yet it seems effortless.